Today we're learning sum and difference identities. So these are the 6 identities that you need to know. Let me show you an example. We want to find the exact value of sine 75. This is not one of the ones we have memorized on the unit circle. Okay? So what I can do is I can write sine of 75 as 45 degrees plus 30 degrees. And when I rewrite 75 as 45 plus 30, I can use this identity up here. So this identity says it wants sine of A. So I'm going to label this one A and this one B. Sine of A is sine 45 degrees times cosine of B is cosine of 30 degrees. Plus, now it wants cosine of A. Remember, A is 45. So I want cosine of 45 degrees times sine of 30 degrees. Thumbs up if you see how I plugged in my numbers into my formula. Okay, that's one person. Let's pause. Great. So now, knowing my unit circle, I know sine at 45 degrees is square root of 2 over 2 times cosine at 30 degrees is square root of 3 over 2 plus cosine at 45 degrees is square root of 2 over 2. Sine at 30 degrees is 1/2. Square root of 2 times square root of 3 is square root of 6 divided by not 2. 2 times 2 is 4. We have to multiply the denominators. Plus square root of 2 times 1 is just square root of 2. 2 times 2 is 4. And of course, when two fractions have the same denominator, you can add the numerators and just keep the denominator the same. So this is your answer. I'm going to pause here and let you guys find the exact value of cosine of 75 degrees. You guys will then be using this formula. You'll have to write cosine of 75 degrees as cosine of 45 degrees plus 30 degrees. And then you'll use this formula up here. Ready, go. Okay, so good job, guys. I'm just going to put the answer on the board. You guys are moving on to the next problem. Use this right here. Multiplied. These are your two answers. Sine and cosine evaluated at 75 degrees. So you guys now are trying to find tangent of 75 degrees. And you're going to find it two ways. You can either use this formula that they gave you, or you could do it another way. I want you guys to try both. Figure out the other way to do it. Ready, go. Using the formula. Okay, and we know that tangent at 45 degrees is just 1. Tangent at 30 degrees. If I draw you a picture of 30 degrees, the coordinate here is square root of 3 over 2 and 1/2. And you put y over x. So 1/2 times, flip this, you're going to get square root of 3 over 3. So tangent is square root of 3 over 3 at 30. So this is what it becomes. It becomes 1 plus the square root of 3 over 3 over 1 minus, and then 1 times anything is just itself. Now, I do not want fractions within a fraction. So what I'm going to do is, for the numerator, I'm going to get the same denominator. I'm going to change this 1 to a 3 over 3. And I'm going to change this 1 to 3 over 3. So this becomes 3 plus the square root of 3 and keep the denominator the same. Down here, I'm going to get 3 minus the square root of 3 and keep the denominator the same. And of course, whenever you're dividing fractions, you keep the numerator the same, but the denominator, you flip it. So 3 will now be on top, and 3 minus square root of 3 is in the denominator. This 3 cancels with this 3, so I'm left with 3 plus the square root of 3 in the numerator, and 3 minus square root of 3 in the denominator. So that's your final answer. That is one way of solving what tangent of 75 degrees is equal to. The other way, remember guys, tangent of 75 degrees is the same thing as sine at 75 degrees and cosine at 75 degrees, right? And we just found these two values on the last slide. Sine of 75 degrees, we said, is this. Cosine of 75 degrees is this. So I could just take those two and divide them. So I have square root of 6 plus square root of 2 over 4 times, I'm going to flip this fraction. So 4 will be on the top. And square root of 6 minus square root of 2 is on the bottom. Those cancel. The final answer, I'll put it up here, is square root of 6 plus square root of 2 over square root of 6 minus square root of 2. Both of these answers are correct. If you type these both into your calculator, some of you guys have calculators on your desk. Can you guys verify that for us? Type this into your calculator. Type this into the calculator. You will get the same value. They're just in different formats. All right, so this is what we get whenever we type in either of these answers. We get 3.7. Here's the next one that you guys are working on. Megan, how are you going to rewrite tangent 15? Pick 45 degrees minus 30 degrees. Is there another one you can do, guys?
15.
What other numbers do we know on the unit circle?
35.
Well, I don't know 15 degrees. That's not on the unit circle. Yeah, you can do that. Wait, no, you can't do that. Can't you do 60 minus something? Yep, 60 degrees minus 45 degrees. That will also work. All of those are going to give you tangent 15. Okay, you can either use this one or this one. They will both give you the same answer in the end. So it looks like you guys are going to use this formula this time. Let me know what you get. Look up and see if you got it correct. It wants sine of A plus B. That is this formula right here. So first it wants sine of A. Well, they just told me sine of A is 4/5. So I'm going to put 4/5 right there. They told me cosine of B is 5/13. So this will be 4/5 times 5/13. Plus, they didn't tell me what cosine of A was, but if I draw a triangle, this is angle A, This is my right triangle. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. This is a 3, 4, 5 triangle. That means cosine of A is the adjacent side over the hypotenuse, 3/5. So that means cosine of A is 3/5. And sine of B, well, I know cosine of B, if I draw a triangle, is adjacent over hypotenuse. So that means this is 12. So sine of B will be opposite over the hypotenuse, 12 over 13. So using the formula, I get 4/5 times 5/13 plus 3/5 times 12/13. And if you do that, 4 times 5, that's 20 over 65 plus 3 times 12, that's 36. 5 times 13, 65. 56, 65. So that's what sine is equal to. Those of you guys who did cosine of A plus B, what did you guys get? That's correct. Yes. This is negative 33 over 65. So that means if I want tangent of A plus B, you can either use this formula, but since I already did this work for question A and question B, I already know that tangent of A plus B is going to be sine of A plus B divided by cosine of A plus B. So sine of A plus B, we said was 56 over 65. And cosine is negative 33 over 65. So then, of course, you're going to flip the second one and multiply. The 65s cancel out, so your answer is negative 56 over 33. That is what tangent of A plus B is. So now, where do you think the quadrant of A plus B is? You guys can answer this by looking at what you got for A, what you got for B, and what you got for C. You'll be able to answer question D. Great job, Kaden. So Kaden said that since your sine is positive, the answer for sine was positive, and the answer for cosine is negative. That is in quadrant 2, where x values are negative and y values are positive. Sines are positive, cosines are negative. So that has to be in the second quadrant.